the double declining, well, what you might want to notice is these two up here, straight line and units of output, they're both basically constant rates. So for straight line, it's the same amount per year. Okay, the 8,000 per year did not change. It stayed the same the whole way through. For units of output, the 40 cents does not change. It's 40 cents per mile. So that rate stayed the same. All right, well, what's going to happen with the double declining balance method? So our rate's going to stay the same, but our numbers are going to change, okay? It's going to be based off of a changing book value. All right, and it's an accelerated method, which means that it takes more depreciation up front. Depreciate. In the early years, more up front in the early years than at the end. All right, and a lot of corporations use double declining because they like that accelerated method. It lowers their taxes because they have a higher depreciation expense, which means they have a lower taxable income. Okay, so there are a couple of steps that we have to do. So step 1, find the straight line rate. All right, the straight line rate is 1 over the life in years. So for this example, the straight line rate equals 1/5, 1 over 5 years. Okay, or 20%. I tend to use the percentages. Some people use the 1/5. Doesn't really matter to me. Okay, the double declining balance, okay, so DDB, the double declining balance rate, since it's double, it's 2 times the straight line rate. So in our case, the double declining balance rate is going to be 2 times 1/5, okay, or 2 times 20%, which equals 40%. Oh my gosh. Okay. Then finally, depreciation expense equals book value, not depreciable cost, but book value times the double declining balance rate. Okay? So when you set up your table, it's a little bit different. We're going to have the date, the book value, the rate, depreciation expense, accumulated depreciation, and then book value again. Okay, so when we bought it 1119, is that what I was using? Yes. Okay, we bought it 1119. So its book value basically is its cost. So remember, don't write anything here. All right, on the day that you buy it, its book value is its cost. Okay, so at December 31st of 2019, at the end of the first year, its book value is still what you paid for it. Okay? All right, the rate is 1 over 5. Oh, 1 over 5 times 2. Okay, so it's 2 times 1 divided by life. All right, then multiply it out. So depreciation expense is book value times the rate. And then accumulated, remember, you just add across. All right, so look for this first year, it's 16,400. Compare that to the 8,000 we had up here under straight line. All right, so it's an accelerated method. It takes more depreciation up front or in the earlier years. All right, then our book value is the cost minus accumulated. All right, so the next year. All right, my book value is now 24,600. My rate stays the same, so I'm just going to copy that down. Actually, this whole little thing stays the same. All right, it's my book value times the rate. My accumulated is the previous year plus the current year. And then my book value is my cost minus my accumulated depreciation. Okay, 12/31/2021. And I could copy my formulas down. I'm just not, because I'm kind of showing y'all where the numbers are coming from. So my book value now is the 14,760 that I had at the end of last year. My rate is still 0.4. All right, my expense is book value times the rate. All right, then I take my previous year's accumulated plus current year depreciation. Then it's my book value minus my accumulated. All right, so my book value is my 88.56 now. My rate is still 0.4. Depreciation expense is book value times rate. Accumulated, what I have, plus my new. And then I cost minus what I have accumulated. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 years. Okay, now I'm at the end of my 5th year. All right, I know that this has to stop. This has to get to $1,000. One of the things about double declining balance is this is just going to get smaller and smaller and smaller, all right? Because it's always going to be 40% of what I have, and the 5th year may not finish it off. So I have to calculate what it needs to be. All right, so if this has to be $1,000, that means that at the end of the 5th year, my accumulated has to be 40,000. Okay, 41 minus 40 equals 1,000. So then this number has to be the difference between these two. So what it takes me to get to $40,000. All right, so I plugged this in. So I plugged it in so that book value equals residual. All right, so basically what I did here is I said it equals the 40,000 that I need in accumulated minus the 35,686.4 that I already have there. Okay, so I think that is it. Okay, and then just like you did up here, just like I did up here, you know, you would do these journal entries each year based on the numbers you get in these columns. Okay, so here's my depreciation expense, and I would use those numbers for my, that's not what I wanted to do. I would use those numbers for my journal entry. Okay, all right, I'll go work some exercises so you have a little more. I know that there are some exercises there already. I'll work some different ones.